All right, let me leave and come back through the app, folks.
Okay.
He is big into SharePoint. He's been a SharePoint developer and trainer for.
Wow, I have a screen now, but I'm not sure what I have.
That's my background, basically.
Oh, is it? Okay.
His Microsoft.
Looks like David's joining us. Welcome, Dave. Steve's going to rejoin because he's not sharing his screen for some reason.
Now, in terms of the conference focus, these are some themes we're going to see again and again. One is that now is the time to talk, right? Another one is from this book, The Way You Do Anything is the Way You Do Everything.
Okay. He's coming back.
And to me, show my screen.
There we go.
You see my covert blitz?
Yep.
Very good. All right. Probably in the editing, you could just pull out all that stuff in between. We could use that introduction, right?
Yep.
Okay. So everybody ready to go?
Yes, all set.
We're ready.
All right. I see we got somebody else on the line also. Perfect. Okay. All right. Thank you, Ted. Thank you, Greg. It's good to be here, and I appreciate this opportunity. You'll pardon my dogs. I'm enjoying a rare day of dryness in Austin, Texas. We've been flooded out all summer, so I'm in the backyard enjoying one of my cigars, and I got my dogs with me, so hopefully they're not too big a distraction. Ted, what I wanted to show today to your folks is you're so good at meeting people on LinkedIn that I'd like to show my specialty, and that's following up with people and having a process in place for what happens to those folks when you do meet them. So that's what I prepared today. The only thing I didn't pull up was a mind map. I might pull up a mind map a little bit later. I'll start with this is a present. This was actually a product that I sold a week ago, and we did very well with it, and we called it Covert Blitz, laser-targeted shock and awe lead generation. And the idea here is, again, how do we incorporate all sorts of different media to follow up with these people we meet on LinkedIn, and most importantly, number one, provide us valuable intelligence about who's coming and paying attention, and number two, keeping in touch with people and following up with them indefinitely. Now, for your audience, if you're not familiar with who I am, first of all, I'm going to ask everybody to go here and just poke around with, I want you to get an overview of a page I put together, and this is called my LinkedIn Friends page. It's my LinkedIn connection page. This is a proprietary thing that I've developed, but it's simply a landing page for everybody that I meet at LinkedIn. So you can go to steverosenbaum.com/LinkedIn-friends. Go ahead, do it now. Poke around there. It's going to ask for your. It's going to ask you to opt in if you want to download things. So if you want to do that, feel free to do it. And it's going to kind of be important to today's discussion. So you'll get to see exactly what I'm talking about with these processes. But the idea of sending people to a non-threatening, information-packed landing page from LinkedIn is really one of the keys to my process. And you'll see more about what we do with that in just a moment. So again, if you've got that, you want to put that link in the chat there, Ted? Are you doing that?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay, let's do that. Everybody feel free to poke around there while we're doing this meeting. And a little caution, there are going to be some things happening on the back end, and I'm going to use that as part of today's demonstration. Now, if you're not familiar with me, let me go forward here. Just a quick overview of who I am. Here you see the So What Do You Do book. that I had a chapter in Joel Comm's book, So What Do You Do, Volume 2, you probably know that Ted was also featured in the original version of So What Do You Do. So it's kind of how Ted and I came together, and it's almost like those old Reese's Peanut Butter Cup commercials, if you're as old as we are, back from the 70s and 80s, where just by chance we collided, and Ted was so good at what he does. Ted was the chocolate, I was the peanut butter. Unless, Ted, if you want to be the peanut butter, I could be the chocolate. I don't really care. But the idea was two great things that came together and just make something even awesomer. And that's kind of what happened. Is that a good way to explain it, Ted?
That's a great way to explain it.
Now, do you want to be chocolate or peanut butter, Ted? I think it's important that we get our story straight.
I can be the chocolate.
Okay. I'll be the peanut butter. All right. So, also, I've got a series out there called Real Life Adventures of a Rainmaker. I would encourage you to subscribe to that. You'll actually see it on my LinkedIn downloads page. This is my favorite thing I've ever done, really. It's a multi-episode. Well, it's training, but it's done in story base. I actually did it as an exercise to improve my copywriting, but writing story-based educational series, and I loved it so much that I just make it available to everybody for free. It's something I probably should monetize because it's so good and so valuable, but I didn't, and it's there for you, so enjoy it. Go grab it. This picture of me laughing here is taken from one of my back-end hangouts. Show me your back-end hangouts. I do regular hangouts where I do coaching and training and show people how I automate the back-end process. I do speaking, which you see me doing down here. And this is my first book that you'll find on Amazon called The Back-End Blueprint. And I've done several more and have several more in the works as well. That's what I do. Now, when it comes to prospecting and it comes to selling, most people don't realize that they really do have that proverbial needle in the haystack right under their nose right now. I have yet to find a situation where I go in and I meet somebody that has past customers, clients, patients, whatever the case might be. If you've been in business for a while, if you have contacts, you have a list out there, somebody within that list is usually what I call ready, willing, and able to do business with you right now. The first thing I want to do is filter for those people. I want to find those people. I want to find that needle in the haystack. Now, we do that by actually flipping our marketing upside down and our approach to marketing. And what I mean by that is most people view marketing as a way to push their message out upon the masses. And they feel that if they push their message out upon the masses, then somebody's going to respond and give them a call, pick up the phone, call the phone number, whatever. And it does happen. Rarely, okay? And when I mean rarely, we can ask somebody, Ted, you just tell me, what is an excellent conversion rate for some sort of an advertisement or marketing? There's no wrong answer. Just what do you feel is an excellent conversion rate?
Oh gosh, depends on the product, but a lot of times 1 or 2% can be an excellent conversion rate.
All right. So if 1 or 2% is an excellent conversion rate, and Greg, I know you're a numbers guy. Greg, if you're unmuted, or Ted, you could just pipe in here. If you're converting 1 or 2% of the time, how much of the time are you not converting?
Obviously, it's 98 or 99% that's waste.
Bingo. Thank you, Greg. I should hand the microphone right over to you. You're right. It's waste. You said it yourself. It's waste. All right. So if you're marketing out there and you've got a call to action that says pick up the phone and call right now, and you're spending $1,000 on that ad, and you're wasting 98 to 99% of it, what does it mean? You're literally throwing $990 down the drain. Is my math right, Greg?
Yeah, no question.
Okay. And is there anything wrong with that logic? I mean, does it make sense?
Well, if you're going to apply the 80-20 principle, you want to try to figure out how you can segment or be more efficient so you can get a higher conversion rate and spend more money on the people that are good customers, not on the masses that you don't want.
Spoken like a true Perry Marshall follower. Great insight there. And that's true. And we talk about that a lot. Not on this call, mind you, okay? But you're 100% right, Greg. That's a fantastic observation. So let's say we do that, and let's say that we actually double or even triple our conversions. Let's say we triple it to 6%, from 2% to 6%. Now we're only failing 94% of the time. Still not really switching the odds in our favor, is it?
Well, it's an improvement, but it's not as good as it could be.
That's correct. So the point of the matter is, let's switch our marketing around and use it for gathering intelligence, all right? And that intelligence is going to help guide us to find those needles. And let's understand that, see, let's stop treating marketing as a one-time call to action, and let's start treating it as tipping that first domino and putting them into a process that, first of all, filters for that immediate opportunity, but secondly, for those people that are within the 98%, 99%, whatever the case might be, let's stick with them. Let's nurture them. Let's give them more information that they need, because if we do that and we educate them and we entertain them and we engage with them, then over time what's going to happen? They're going to stick with us. They're going to get to know us. We're going to be I promise you, we're going to beat the competition. We're going to be the only people that are doing this to the level that they like. And when that time does come, they're ready to make a purchasing decision, we become the only logical choice. So that's the whole premise of my systems. And let's apply that to the people that we meet on LinkedIn. So let's go forward here. Here's our situation. On LinkedIn, a lot of connections exist. It's difficult to monitor those connections. It's difficult to tag them. They do have a concept of tagging on LinkedIn, but it's a manual process. Ted, if I'm not mistaken, I think I'm citing this from your book. I read a lot about LinkedIn, but I think you recommend when tagging on LinkedIn, only applying a single tag to prospects, I think, and one of the reasons why is just because it's a tedious process. Am I correct?
Yeah, it's very manual.
Yeah, very, very manual. So if you've got 1,000 connections, you've got 10,000 connections. If you've got a few million connections, like Ted probably does, then it's just not feasible. All right. Now the third point here is very important. We call it ownership of the connection. Please understand, you own nothing on LinkedIn or on Facebook or on YouTube or any of these social media sites. When I mean that, you might have connections, but you don't own it. Okay, LinkedIn owns it, and you're subjected to their rules. They'll let you connect how and when they want you to connect. And if for some reason they feel you violated terms of service, then you could find yourself in LinkedIn jail, all right, where you're not able to use it the way that you want to use it, or worse. I know people that have lost their accounts on social media platforms, whether it's LinkedIn or Facebook or YouTube. And so one of the things we want to do right away is take ownership of that connection. Move them off of LinkedIn and move that somewhere where we can own it and we can control it. Now, there is one great resource in LinkedIn that I hope you're taking advantage of all the time, and that is, there's my dogs, that is exporting your contacts. I hope you're in the habit of exporting your contacts on a regular basis, all right? If you haven't figured out an automated way to do that, and if you did figure out an automated way to do that, LinkedIn probably trampled that recently, because they've changed things, and some of the things we used to do to automate that process no longer work because LinkedIn's really clamped down on that type of stuff. But what I want to urge you, if you haven't done it, go do it today. Download and export all of your connections, and then put a note on your calendar to do this once a week and stay on top of it. And then what I hope I'll impress upon you today is not only do you take them and download them, but let's take them and put them into an automated process that contacts them immediately and follows up with them indefinitely.
Hey, Steve.
Yes, sir.
Have you tried exporting your contacts in the last week or two?
No, I haven't. Have they changed it again?
I cannot figure out how to do it, but you can export your whole account and get them that way. But I'll look into it and do a little video for the group to show them how to do it.
Let's do it. And I'm always, Ted, I'm always on the lookout for great tools for automating that, and being able to get the data that we used to be able to get. So absolutely. By the way, do the same thing with your Gmail account. Any place that you've got contacts online, do this, all right? And again, not only to protect them and move them, but also to put them into processes. Finally, on LinkedIn, understand that you've got massive competition. You are trying to get the attention. You know, I know every day when I log into LinkedIn, I'm bombarded with messages. I'm bombarded with connection requests. And, you know, we need to be doing marketing on LinkedIn, but understand that that's what the other guy's inbox looks like. We're just one of those messages. If we're fortunate enough to get their attention for a split second, chances are they'll be distracted in another moment by another connection, by another post, by something else happening. So at least when we can get these people and take them off of LinkedIn and put them into our own follow-up system, then when they do pay attention to us, we have 100% of their attention, and we're not splitting that with the competition. Does that all make sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Cool. So,
in fact, that's one of my biggest worries about developing a LinkedIn marketing is that they keep changing the rules, and so unless I have some way of, like you say, gaining ownership of those contacts, then I'm really vulnerable to whatever whims they have.
Well, you're at the right place at the right time, Greg, because we're going to answer that for you in about 30 seconds. All right. So finally, let me just show you the desired outcome. We want to rise above all others. We want to get noticed. We want to build credibility. We want to deepen our connection. Now, here's an important thing. Filter for immediate opportunities. If we have 100 people that are coming to us and only one of them, right, if our conversion rate is 1 to 2%, if only 1 out of 100 people are really, willing, and able to do business with us right now, doesn't it make the most sense that we try to find out who that person is immediately and start talking with them instead of trying to have 100 conversations, just have one conversation for now, and then we can automate the process of taking care of all the others? That's what we're going to do. Nurture all the others. That's the next step. That's what I'm talking about. And then finally, follow up and monitor. Watch the activity that's coming in. Now, let's see.
So it's like the 80-20 rule. Focus on that 20% that's going to give you 80% of your revenue, and then nurture the rest.
Bingo. All right. Now, I think that, all right, I think I'm ready to move on here. Our strategy is going to be that we try to get them to trip over codes. I don't know how technically oriented your group is, Ted, so some of the stuff might be at a little higher level. I'm going to try to simplify it without boring people that truly understand this. But the bottom line is, today, in today's marketing, it's changed. For years, I always told my clients and told my audience and told my students that the number one thing you need to do is capture an email address so that you can follow up. And it's still important, but it no longer is the number one thing to do. See, it used to be that if somebody came to your website and they left without giving you their email address and their contact information, poof, they were gone and you couldn't follow up. But the world has changed and technology has changed, and that's no longer the case because now we have something called retargeting or remarketing that allows us to drop a code, a cookie if you will, on those visitors' computers. So if they do leave, at least if we want to pay for advertising, we can now put these people in what we call a custom audience that separates these people that we know have shown some interest in us because they came to our website, and now we can begin marketing to them. All right. Now, it's still important we go after that email address, but we kind of have a second and third and fourth opportunity because we can at least now show some very laser-focused and targeted ads. All right. Now, then we want to get them to opt in. Opt in means give us the email address, and then finally start tagging and segmenting based upon behavior and scoring the most desired outcomes. This is our strategy. I would encourage you to take a screenshot of this screen right here if you like, because this is what I'm going to show you from this point forward. So with that strategy in mind, let's go back to where I asked you to go at the very beginning. Okay, and that was this LinkedIn connections page that I put up, and here it is on my computer. And I'm going to refresh the screen here. And is this GoToMeeting panel in the way? Can people see it, or is it just on my screen?
Just you.
Okay. All right.
It's
Let me
annoying,
refresh
isn't
this.
it?
Yeah, it is. I'm on a laptop outside. Usually I work on 2 monitors, so it's not a problem. But since I'm outside having my cigar, I'm on just a small laptop here. All right. So I want to refresh the screen. I want to show you what happens. Now understand how people get here. You see this says Steve Rosenbaum LinkedIn Friends. People are only getting here if they've been directed here. In fact, I think I even have search engine optimization turned off. I think I'm hiding this screen from the search engines because I want to control who sees this. I want to know that if you're here, it's only because I invited you, and specifically because I invited you from LinkedIn. So imagine that you're following everything that Ted tells you about how to find people and connect with people. All right, let's you're looking for connections, you're joining groups, and you're meeting people, and you're getting that very first message out there, which introduces yourself. All right. Now my typical message is a little bit different because I do have a call to action, and when I'm connecting with somebody on LinkedIn, I'm going to use a message that might sound something like this. Let me show you. I think I've got one written out here. All right, well, let's just say, now this happens to be written for some automation programs that I use, but this is basically the message. It would say, hey, Ted, thank you for connecting with me on LinkedIn. I put together a few GIFs so that you can see exactly how my unique approach helps businesses of all kinds. You can grab your free kits on my website here, okay, and I give them that link. All right, so I tell them they have GIFs. I've written several versions of that message. Some just says, hey, if you want to learn more about me, in addition to what's on my profile, I got some more valuable information, and I direct them to this page. When they go to this page, the magic starts. First of all, I'm going to refresh this and take a look at what happens. If you're following along, then you've seen this, but immediately we get a pop-up, and the pop-up addresses you as a LinkedIn friend. Okay, very important. I'm speaking to you exactly how you came from. So I'm addressing you. You're familiar with it now, and it says, welcome LinkedIn friend. I've got some gifts for you. Hey, this is Steve. Thanks for connecting with me on LinkedIn. I've put together a few samples of my work that I'm sure you'll enjoy. Simply give me your email address, and I'll send them to you along with all my personal direct contact information. That's what people want, right? People love gifts, and they want your direct contact information. That's what they get asked for all the time. People ask me on LinkedIn, hey, what's your email address? Well, I don't answer that there. I said, hey, go to my page and fill out that form, and I'll send that all to you. All right, because this is what I'm calling tipping the first domino. Now, when you fill that out, it's going to bring you right back to this page, and you're going to have access to anything you want. You can get a white paper that I've written, and notice I've targeted this. I say, okay, if you're a business owner, you're going to want this. All right, if you're a salesperson, you're going to want this. All right, and then I tell you can listen to the Perfect Sales Storm, and I tell you about it here. Then I give people an example. Creating sales quickly is my specialty. Watch a video if you want to watch. All right, and then how can I help your company? I can help you grow your business right now. I can help you with sales training. And then finally, I talk about my speaking. This to me is what I'm after. I'm after people to click on this button here and this button here. And frankly, as I'm looking at this again for the 48th time, probably 48,000th time, and I've been so close to the trees, what I might consider doing is actually moving this stuff above the fold, because that's stuff that's even more important to me. But I don't care. I don't mind making them hunt and peck a little bit, because what I'm looking for is I'm looking to filter. I'm looking for the few people that literally do come here and start pressing buttons. All right? Now, I'm going to take a pause here. I'm going to take a sip of water and keep my cigar from going out. It's a great time if anybody's got questions. Ted, if you got a question, I know we got a few people on the line. If they've got questions, let me take a pause here and just ask if anybody's got any questions, and I'll move forward.
No, I love the idea of you creating this special page for them. That's I can't believe I haven't thought of that.
Ted, that's why we're going to partner up and do wonderful things together.
It's just
Okay,
perfect.
so
Go ahead, Greg.
well, so Steve, what you're doing here is you're basically racking the shotgun, except what you've got is you've got several different shotguns, and what you're trying to do is draw out the ones that are interested, whether it's speaking, whether it's a salesperson or a sales manager, or whether it's somebody who's a small business owner, and put them in completely separate tracks so you can customize your message.
Bingo. Bingo. Hey, Ted, when we're done, you need to send a copy of this audio to Perry, because we have got a true Perry guy on the line, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Greg, I love it. And I'm a big Perry fan also, so we're enjoying it.
John
All right.
Mendocha would be proud.
Yeah, exactly right. The racking the shotgun guy. All right. So, Greg, you've nailed it. Okay. So all these different things. I'm looking for what with racking the shotgun. You know it. Okay. What, Greg? You tell me. What is the racking the shotgun story? Why are they doing it, and what are they looking for?
Okay, well, I actually used this in my June newsletter. Uh, Basically, it's some kind of an action that you take that separates the crowd. So the story goes like this: John Mendocha is a green gambler in Las Vegas trying to learn the ropes. An old hand takes him to a club on the Strip and says, "I'm going to teach you a lesson." He goes into this club midday, and it's the kind of seamy club, drunk patrons and the whole thing, and pulls out a sawed-off shotgun from under his jacket, and then does the opens the chamber, the racking sound, and then closes it again as though he were loading a shell. And about 20% of the people in the club turn around instantly, very alert, and those are the street savvy guys that are dangerous. And his mentor says, "John, don't play poker with those guys. The rest of these guys are marks. You can play poker with them." And that the whole thrust of the story is that that's how you separate people into the groups that you either want to work with or don't want to work with.
Bingo. Okay? So you're 100% correct, and that is exactly what we're doing here. So of the 100% of the people that come to this page, 80% might leave with doing nothing. Okay? Or maybe some of them will stay and they'll poke around a little bit. Maybe they'll fill out the initial opt-in. Okay. Now the reason I ask them to do the opt-in is because going back to my strategy, I want to capture them off of LinkedIn, and I now want to engage them into my own process. All right. And my process looks something like this. This is what I call a covert blitz, and I'm gonna zoom out so give you a 30,000-foot aerial view of this. Okay. But they're gonna come into the system over here. All right. And we're going to take them. This is the landing page. This is a LinkedIn Friends page, and you can see that these are all the different options. These are my different lead magnets. And then each of these lead magnets goes to a separate thank you page. Why do you think they go to a separate thank you page, guys? Why don't I just have them opt in once and leave it at that? What am I getting by knowing where they go to?
Well, you know what their hot buttons are.
I know what their hot buttons are, okay? And notice how I've headlined these. Hey, if you're a business owner, look at this. Well, I'm going to know that, hey, okay, A, they're interested in the white paper, but I also might segment them as responding. Now, I haven't learned definitively that they're a business owner, but I have learned that they might be potentially interested in things that pertain to business owners, right? And the more I engage with people, the more I gather this intelligence. And this is what I talked about with your marketing. Your marketing has to bring you back valuable intelligence. Now, look what I'm doing in my system. In my system, I am applying lead. So first of all, I am gathering all the information into my system. Now, I'm using something called lead outcome. Greg, you asked, hey, does it need Infusionsoft, anything like that? I'm a process expert. I really don't care what software you use, and I use many of them. I use Infusionsoft, I use Entreport, and I love this system that I'm showing you right now called Lead Outcome. And one of the reasons why is because Lead Outcome is built for Main Street America businesses. It does not have the very lofty price tag that some of the other ones do, okay? But it does allow us to do a lot of what they do. For instance, tagging, all right? So I am tagging these people. Now, here's somebody named Brian. Here's what I could do. Look at this. I could do a list now. Let's say I want to look at the people that have downloaded lead magnets. Okay, right here I have filtered my list, and now I see here's 21 people within this time period that I'm looking at that have downloaded lead magnets from this page. So right away I know some of these people, these are the people that responded to the shotgun, right, Greg? They grabbed the lead magnet.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, now we have lead scoring here. What's lead scoring? Well, every time they take an action, I attribute a score, and that score is based upon how deep within the funnel that action is. If it's very early in the funnel, if it's somewhere around here, I might give them 20 points. But if they make it deep down here into the funnel, And by making it deep down here in the funnel, you're showing me you've got a lot more interest. Hey, can everybody hear me? I guess it's the day for the landscapers to come next door. Are you guys hearing me okay?
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay. So now what I want to say is down here deep in the funnel where I've got what I call my RWA finder, which is a survey for filtering out the people that are ready, willing, and able. Now people start filling out this form here, they get high scores. They get like 200-point bumps in their score. And the reason they do that is so when I go here and I sort on score, there we go. I know that this guy, Steve Snyder, and there might be some privacy issues here, and I apologize for you guys, but many of you know who I am, so I know you don't mind. Anyways, but so here's Snyder. Snyder's somebody that I do know, okay? And look at him. He's got the highest score. Now, there's your 80-20 rule, all right? Out of hundreds and hundreds of people within my system, I've narrowed it down to 21 people from LinkedIn that have downloaded these magnets. And now I filtered on score, and I can see these people right from the get-go rise to the top. Now I can go in here and I can say, okay, why does Snyder have a score of 670 points? And I can go in here and look at this valuable intelligence I get about what pages on my website he's visited. Look at all these different tags that he's got 12 different tags. You think he's interested in what I do? The reason he's got tags is because he's taking action. He's saying, okay, I want to know what this money in the back end is. I want to know what Rainmaker is. I want to know what Perfect Sales Storm is. I mean, here's a guy that's consuming just about everything that I put out. So let me ask you this. If I open up this program and I'm connected with thousands and thousands of people, where should I start? Do you think this would be a good place to start in terms of reaching out and seeing if I could help Mr. Snyder? Greg, what do you think of all that?
Well, yeah, there's no question. I mean, obviously he's got interest, or he wouldn't be pulling all this information off your website if he didn't have some interest.
That's exactly right. Now we could also take a look at not only score, but we could take a look at how about most recent. We can go to my managed lead screen, and let's just look at last activity, most recent. This is a test. These are a few test ones. I was testing some things this morning. So let's get through all this, and we can go down here to this gentleman here. Okay, here's somebody that was on my system. Now this is a few days old. Okay, because this is actually not my primary system. I just use it for test purposes. But you can see that just by looking at lead activity, we can narrow down to who is been most recent. We could look at who's most active. We could look at most recent. We could even target specific people. Now that I'm tagging people that might be business owners, if I want to reach somebody with a message that's geared towards business owners, I could simply tag them or segment them now that they're tagged and reach out and send them an email. Likewise, I could do that for salespeople and so forth. So this is the back end of that LinkedIn connection. Let's take it beyond sending a simple message on LinkedIn, and let's take it outside of the LinkedIn environment where we're competing with millions and millions of people, and let's bring them onto our home turf where we can control that a little more. I apologize. It's only going to take a second. I see this guy. He's just edging his backyard. He'll be done in 1 second here. But anyways, all right. With Ted, let me mute. I'm going to let you fill in a little bit while this guy does his landscaping, and then I'll come back. Ted, you want to take over for a minute?
Sure. My lights just flickered twice too, so it's like, what's going on?
Actually, I can hear Steve just fine. I mean, I can hear that very faintly in the background, but it's not a distraction.
It's not.
Okay, cool.
Unless you're worried about it for the purposes of a quality recording, I wouldn't worry about it too much.
Well, if you're hearing it, then the recording's going to be fine too, and then it's just a matter of if my ADD brain gets too distracted.
Yeah, I don't hear you too bad. I don't hear it.
Okay, very good. All right. I have not been taking a look at our audience. I don't know if more people have joined us. If there's more questions, Ted, I will ask you to monitor that for me.
Yep. David's the only one on. And David, if you have any questions too, you can unmute yourself and ask. So feel free to jump in.
Okay. So look, this is an overview of the system, and it shows you what the process that I consider to be so important to following up. Now, mind you, look, this doesn't just limit itself to LinkedIn. This is how I follow up with anybody I meet from anywhere. If I'm involved in BNI networking group, all right, I do the exact same thing. I could basically make an exact copy of this page, and I could say, welcome BNI friend, and thank you for connecting, all right? The page could be identical. And then if I come home from BNI with a stack of business cards, I've got one of these business card scanners where it literally processes like 50 of them in a minute, okay? And I literally take my stack of cards, put it through that business card scanner, and immediately take those people and put them on this campaign, and I'm done. Now, let me show you more about the magic, all right? When we start taking this process and carrying it forward, what I showed you here is how we immediately filter for the best opportunities. We know from our discussions earlier, we know that the majority of people are not immediate opportunities. So what do we do with those people? All right. What we're going to do with those people is we're going to keep them engaged. Let me go back to my presentation here, and I don't remember if I included the next step here on my presentation. I did not, okay? But what I will show you is, let me pull up a copy of my back-end blueprint and show you what my back-end blueprint's all about.
Steve, can I ask a question while we're...
Please, go, Greg.
Okay, so you connect with BNI, you have other, maybe you go to a Perry Marshall event or a Dan Kennedy event. Do you have different business cards for each of those events in order to direct people to different landing pages?
That is a wonderful question. I do not. There's certainly nothing wrong with doing that, okay? Now, I do something a little bit differently. I've got a page here. The back of my business card says, I print on both sides of my business card, the back of it, and I hand it with the back showing, and it says, I've got a gift for you. Go to meet.steverosenbaum.com. So if you go to meet.steverosenbaum.com, I've got a landing page. A gift from Steve Rosenbaum. Here are the 4 ingredients necessary to close a sale every time. And now that's generic, okay? Now, I do change this landing page if I'm doing an event, okay? And I know that, look, for the next several days, I'm going to generate a lot of people coming to this. You know, I'm going to be handing out a lot of these business cards. And so what I might do is I might change this for a short period of time, 3-4 days, a week, and it might say, dear BNI friend, great meeting you, all right? But for the most part, I treat it generic. Now, this is a little different. It's just a different landing page. It evolves into the exact same type of a funnel where I'm going to be, trying to filter for immediate opportunities and then nurture the rest of the people. So that's a great question. Nothing wrong with having different business cards if you want to, but I don't know that you need to get that granular.
Okay.
Okay.
This is a good solution. This makes sense.
All right. So what I do is that meet.steverosenbaum.com is a redirect. Look where it ends up. It ends up. This is actually a third party. This is a piece of software that I own that allows me to put up very quick and good looking landing pages, and they're hosted with that platform. Okay. I'm not even hosting this, but the bottom line is, I could replicate this immediately, just put up a second page, change the headline a little bit, and then that web page that I have at meet.steverosenbaum.com is a redirect page. So what I can do there is just simply go in there and change where it points to, and it will just, people are going to the same place, meet.steverosenbaum.com, but their destination is going to be controlled by me, if that makes sense.
Sure. So in other words, you have a library of these pages that you just redirect people to, depending on what event you're working that week or whatever it is.
Yeah, and here's the other reason that's important. Let's say somebody keeps my business card for a long time, and they come back to it 2 years later. I don't want them going to an old, outdated page. If I just send them to meet.steverosenbaum.com, and I always keep that fresh and up to date with something current, then that business card is never obsolete. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
And I'll tell you what I love more than business cards are poker chips. I pass out a lot of poker chips. Not good, solid feeling poker chips, the kind that nobody's ever going to throw away. They keep them by their desk, and they play with them every day. They toss them up and down, and I get people coming back to some of these poker chip URLs that I gave out years and years and years ago, I find that some people have never thrown out my poker chip. And I know where my business card is. My business card is either in the garbage or it's in a shoebox in a closet with 1,000 other business cards.
It's a great idea with the poker chip.
And put that URL in there. That is an evergreen URL. The evergreen URL approach. There you go. There's a product, Ted. I didn't even think about that. Now we got it. The evergreen URL. Or how about the evergreen poker chip?
Perfect.
So you know what the takeaway from today needs to be is that, to me, it's what I tell everybody. Now I'm a little biased. I don't mind telling you that, but to me the back end is the most important thing, because if you don't have that back end in place, we've established that you are wasting the vast majority of your time, money, and prospecting efforts. All right, but if you have that back end in place, now you go out and you meet people with the confidence in knowing that you've got something that's going to be there for you, that's going to do these things. Now you go out there and put as many people as you can. And that's how I work a room, by the way. I work a room trying to eliminate people. As I have very short conversations, trying to move on as soon as possible, passing out my poker chip, passing out my card with the call to action on the back, and you know, and basically I'm trying to get as many people to get into that funnel as possible, and let my system filter out those immediate opportunities for me, and alert me to the high scoring, high activity people that are really showing an interest. Finally, the thing I want to say is, for the rest of the people, we put them on a nurture track. We feed them lots of valuable content. We spend the majority of our time entertaining, engaging. That's what Rainmaker is, okay? Rainmaker that I showed you is close to 30 episodes. If we go here, let me go back to my page right here, and let's go to Rainmaker. All right, grab Real Life Adventures of a Rainmaker. All right, so when you go here, again, this is some of my favorite content. This is all email based, and I'm going to send you an episode. I used to send it out an episode a day. I've spread it out a little bit more, so it's no longer a daily thing, but I think there's about 30 episodes in the queue. And it's very entertaining. It's very educational. It's very engaging. Okay, it's engaging because I get back information. I've got calls to action in there, and I'm tracking those calls to action. One of them might be download my mind map. One might be go listen to my story. All right, and I'm monitoring and tagging and segmenting and tracking based upon those things, and I'm getting valuable information. There's really hardly any monetization at all on that. And I hesitate when I say that because it's one of the things I kick myself in the pants every day and say, I got to monetize Rainmaker better, and one of these days I'm going to. But the bottom line is, it ends up monetizing indirectly because I'm getting the valuable intelligence that I could use to go on, and it, you know, it's brought me in many different clients, and it separates me from everybody else. So this is how we engage. And then what you're going to find is on day 7 of Rainmaker, okay, you get an episode every single day. On day 7, I'm asking you how you're enjoying the story. All right, and when I ask you how you're enjoying the story, you're going to end up at what I call an RWA Finder page. And let me show you what an RWA Finder page looks like. It's a survey. Okay, we can get to one right here. Let's see, we can go watch a sales CPR video. Okay, I do ask you to opt in again. I really don't need to, because if you've gotten here, you really don't need to opt in. I might take that opt in off. Let me just put in some bogus information here for a second. I'm just going to do this. Yeah, let's do myself. Oh, this is strange. I updated this page. Okay, I don't think that's... I updated this page and it's not showing the update. I'm going to have to check that out. But for now, let's just do this, and let's see if it does what I want it to do. Okay. So this is what I call an RWA Finder page. All right, after they opt in, I say, thanks for your interest in sales CPR. Please provide us more information so that we can provide you the best information about how we can help your company find fast sales. Tell me about your business. How's business? What kind of marketing do you do? What is your average cost per lead? Enter IDK if you do not know. What is the average lifetime value of a customer or patient? Look at this. How much do you spend per month on marketing? Okay, I'm asking them budget questions. What's your biggest marketing challenge? And I give them some things to select from. How would you rate your marketing satisfaction on a scale of 1 to 10? And then I ask them a follow-up question. What would you need to happen to make it a 10? Now, why am I asking questions like this?
Well, not only are you qualifying them, but you're also you're identifying what their expectations are.
Yeah, that's right. What am I
So
going
it
to do
makes
with
it a
that?
lot easier to sell to what their expectations are, what it is they desire. You know what it is that their in desire is.
That's exactly right. Now, some people inevitably ask me, well, what if they think their marketing's a 10? And you say, what would need to happen to make it 10? You know what my answer is if their marketing's a 10?
Not a good match.
Exactly. Why not?
Well, if they're already happy, there's no pain.
That's right. Okay. If their marketing's a 10, they either have perfect marketing or they think they have perfect marketing. Either way, I don't think there's any. I don't want to work with those people. So, and you're right. There's no pain. Greg, you do have a sales background. You're absolutely.
I really do. I sold for a long while.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. All right. So, what products or procedures would you like to sell more of? So I'm getting them to give me the information now. This is what I was talking about. This page is way down here in the funnel. Okay, right? It's way down here. You have to go through a lot of steps to get here. But if you get to that step and you fill out the form, you are really self-qualifying yourself, are you not?
Oh, absolutely.
And my system is going to alert me. And now, see, the thing is, it might not happen on day 1, and it might not happen on day 2. It might, it might. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it happens on day 5. Sometimes it happens on day 30. Sometimes it happens in 6 months. And I've had it even happen in 15 months. I had one client that came back to me after being in my funnel for 15 months, and his exact words were, I'm hiring you because you followed up better than anybody else, and I know that if your system brought me to you 15 months later, then you're going to bring more customers to me too.
I like that logic.
I love that logic.
That's good logic.
Yes, it is. But I have to agree with that logic myself. So, but that is exactly how we do it. So the whole point is we want to get people there. If we can get them there right now, that's fantastic. We know this is where we're going to spend our time. All right, but for the 94, 95, 98, 99% of the people that don't get there right now, we're going to keep them engaged. Maybe it's our Rainmaker. Maybe it's our Perfect Storm. Maybe it's just our blog or our YouTube videos or our Hangouts, or maybe it's getting on Ted's program, okay? We're going to keep people engaged. We're also going to meet new people, and we're going to get them in the funnel, and people are going to progress through that funnel at a different rate. But what's going to happen perfectly every single time is our system's going to follow up, and our system's going to alert us. When somebody fills out that RWA Finder form, bells go off, alarms go off, I get email notifications. It tells me, hey, time to get off the beach and go follow up with somebody. All right, and that's how my system works.
What does RWA stand for?
Ready, willing, and able.
Okay.
All right. You probably know the answer to this question. What are the 3 things that you have to have for a match, for a sale to happen?
There has to be the bleeding neck or the perceived need. They have to have the means to do it, and they have to be able to make a decision.
There you go. Okay. I was looking for right time, right message, right audience. But all those things you say are true too. Okay. But it amounts to the same thing. Okay. If it's the right message, it's because they got the bleeding neck, right? It's they have the means. That's ready, willing, and able. Are you ready? Yeah, I got a bleeding neck. Okay. Are you willing? Absolutely. I want to stop the bleeding. Are you able? I.e., do you have money? Yes. Okay. Do you have time? Yes. Okay, great. So RWA is ready, willing, and able, and it sums up all those things that you talked about.
Cool. I like this a lot.
Well, I appreciate that. Ted, I'm kind of at the end of my dog and pony show, but what else can we do?
Oh, I think that's great. It's a great start. It just shows the power of following up with people. Like you said, follow up with the people. It could be 5 years before they buy from you. It's just amazing
Yeah.
how you have people on your list. I have people on my list, and I'll be posting things every day on social media and sending out emails. And like years later, they go, "Oh, I noticed something that I posted on social media." It's, wow, you're watching me and you've never commented, or there's a lot of stalkers out there, if you want to call them that.
Yeah. Well, in my Rainmaker, I introduced you to one of my early mentors, was somebody named Jeffrey Mayer. And Jeffrey passed away years ago, but have either of you ever heard of Jeffrey Mayer?
No, I'm not familiar with Jeffrey.
No.
Okay, Jeffrey, I'll tell you how I met him. I've been doing this stuff a long time. I've been doing this since the mid-'80s, and it looked a little different then, but some of one of the first programs I used was the ACT program on my original Mac Plus back in the 80s. And Jeffrey was the author of ACT for Dummies, the ACT software for program for dummies. He did a couple more dummies books. He did time management for dummies back then, and he had a newsletter back then. And we're talking about, this was probably in the mid-'90s. He had a newsletter called Succeeding in Business. And I mean, tell you how long ago this was. I mean, this is when I had an old AOL address, and I dialed in on a dial-up modem, at 3600 baud or whatever it was, right? And back in the days when you used to get excited for the You've Got Mail, and for me, You've Got Mail was, most of the time, it was Jeffrey's newsletter coming in called Succeeding in Business. And it was really good. It was, a lot of this type of stuff. And the thing is, Jeffrey had a little blurb in there, and every newsletter just said, hey, looking for a mentor, looking for a coach, I help people, yada, yada, yada. I looked at, I read 20 of his newsletters and obviously saw it every time, but never thought anything about it. And then I got to a point where I needed to make a career change, and I needed some advice. I said, I really need a coach, and I really need a mentor. And what do you think popped into my mind all at once? Jeffrey. Jeffrey's a guy. I never even looked for anybody else. I didn't even know where to go. I just know, Jeffrey, he's a coach and he's a mentor. So I'd looked at that thing 20 different times, and it never sank in. And one of these days, subliminally, it said, time to call Jeffrey and get some help. All right? And that's the way these things work. That's the way it works, by being in front of people with a consistent message. When they become ready, willing, and able, you become the only logical choice.
That makes perfect sense.
Greg, can you apply this to what you do?
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt about it. It's sort of what the newsletter is supposed to do, but I think for me it's also coming up with compelling offers too. But this makes a lot of sense, because then you can focus on those people that are really that are at least interested.
Yes. Well, would you like me to help you with some of that? Is that what's going to be your challenge? Is coming up with compelling offers? Because I have some tips for that if you're interested.
I think maybe I would like some help with that. Maybe we could work out something, like a barter arrangement, voiceover for some consulting.
Oh, well, I'd love that. I was going to give you some tips right now.
Well, well, let's do it.
All right.
Let's go for it.
So I'll give you some tips right now, and I'll take you up
Pour
on your
the value, please.
Yeah. Because this will help everybody. Now, I've struggled with this myself. Mind you, the reason I figured all of this out is because I struggle with all the same things you struggle with, okay? I've just figured out some of the systems and processes to help me with that, all right? Now, and I still struggle with many things today, too, believe me, all right? But at least I have the confidence of knowing that I've got this in place. But understand this about compelling offers. If you're not doing anything else, let's go back to your term, Perry's term, John's term, racking the shotgun. Okay? Guess what? It doesn't have to be your offer. It doesn't even have to be your product. you could share a video on YouTube that you know your audience is going to like. There's a trick to doing that. Let me show you about something very cool here. Here's something I glossed over. I'm going to back up real quick, and I'm going to show you a very cool way to do this process and use third-party content. Use an article that Ted wrote. Use a video that I did, okay? That's okay. And let me show you a very cool tool. What's embedded on all of these landing pages so that I get this information are these cookies, okay? These landing pages all have cookies. What I can do here is let me do a view page source, and let me show you. Number one, I do retargeting on Facebook using Facebook ads. So one thing I do is I separate people into custom audiences. If you're looking, this is the code behind the scene. Let me show you something here. FBQ. Okay, right here is the Facebook script. Now, this is not a Facebook remarketing webinar. You'll have to find that information elsewhere, okay? But what I do want you to know is that when somebody goes to that page has, my mouse just went dead, that page has this code in here, okay? And that code is putting them into a separate Facebook custom audience. Now look at this code above this. This is called a Smart Pixel. This is code from Lead Outcome. And this code right here that I get from the Lead Outcome program, I just do this by going to integration, okay, and I could build a Smart Pixel right here. And a Smart Pixel, I tell people what's the name of the page they're on. Hey, do I want to add any tags? Yes. Hey, do I want to increase the score? Yes. When I do all that, it spits out a code, and I just put that code right on this page. Okay? Are you following me? Is this or is this too far advanced? Okay. But that code is right here. See, the important thing to know is that what we want to do is we want to get people to trip over these codes. We want to get people to trip over that Smart Pixel and our custom audience. Okay? And if we're doing that, then we can tag and segment. And graphically, if I want to illustrate the process, it looks like this. Okay? We get potential customers or clients visit our site, and when they do that, we now want to get them to trip over, this isn't working for me. Here, it enters in this retargeting pixel and the Smart Pixel, and now it's cookied on their machine. You with me so far? So, what do we do when we don't own the landing page? Okay, what do we do if we want to send them to a YouTube video? That's always been a problem. So I found this very cool product called Retarget Engine. Let me show you this. Here's a very cool product called Retarget Engine. This is an affiliate link. Fair warning on that. I'll put it in chat. Okay. Well, I won't put it in chat. I'll just tell you about it. zaplink.us/retargetengine. But look at what this does. This is a short code creator, a read-to-read code creator, and it allows me to embed that Facebook code right into the link. All right, maybe what I have to do is actually show you what this looks like. Well, here it is right here, okay? You create these codes, say, okay, I want somebody to go, let's say this Teespring campaign number 1, let's say that's a YouTube video. I want somebody to go to a YouTube video. Well, you open up a new campaign, you call it YouTube video, the actual video name, and this is the destination, all right? Now, here in the header tracking code, you put the Facebook pixel or the Smart Pixel from Lead Outcome, and you put it there. Now, what happens is you're going to start driving people to the special link that it gives you. And when somebody clicks on your link, they literally, in a split second, literally actually go to what looks like a page. It drops the pixel on them, drops a cookie on them, drops the Smart Pixel from Lead Outcome on them, and then it sends them over to YouTube. To them, they're going to it's a third-party video. You can say, hey, go look at this video. But within the system now, you have put them in a custom audience and applied a Smart Pixel. And how cool is that?
It's pretty powerful, I'll tell you.
All right. Did we lose Greg, or is he still there?
I muted myself when I was
Okay.
listening. Okay, so in other words, what this does is it bumps their score on your server in your database and lead outcome, and then it drops this cookie on their machine so that you don't basically lose track of them.
Now that's correct. Now, mind you, here specifically, here's what this is doing. We can do all those things when we own the page, because we just put the code on the page to do all that. But the challenge here is, how can we use something third party? How can we use a video on YouTube? We can't put the code on YouTube, can we? We don't own that, right?
No. But you're using an intermediary page as a transition, is that right?
That's essentially what this does. This is
Okay.
creating an intermediary page on the fly, okay? They're there for a split second. They don't even realize it. Okay, if you click on the link, it's going to go to your link, embed the code on their machine, and then send them to YouTube. And this is going to, so this was to your question of, hey, I need the product, I need the content. Well, you don't really, okay? You can start getting people into your system and tracking them and tagging them and segmenting them and send them to third-party resources. How cool is that?
That's really cool.
Exactly. So what I'd hate to see you do is wait until you build the product, because let's say you want to go find leads right now and you don't necessarily have the product, but look, we want you having dialogues anyways, because you can get a client tomorrow before you even have a product. So let's get you doing something right now, but let's get you engaging people in this type of process and tagging and scoring, so that all the conversations you have today, if you have 4 conversations every day this week, by the end of the week you've had 20 conversations. Wouldn't it be nice to know which of those 20 conversations are going to be your most fruitful immediately?
Right, and this makes perfect sense. You're letting a system do all the filtration so that you don't have to probe, you don't have to chase people. They act on their own. They have the sense of pursuing you rather than feeling like they're being pursued. And then you're tracking all the while what kind of things they pull down, what sort of things are their hot buttons in their interest, and then you can figure out who you want to pursue on that basis because you already know they're hot to go.
Bingo. You got it.
It's a great way to qualify people.
Yeah, that's it. This is the system that qualifies people.
I totally get it. This makes sense.
Well, awesome. And I'll be calling you for some voiceovers.
Cool. Let's do it. Let's rock and roll.
Ted, Greg's going to be the voice of Ted and Steve.
This is really good stuff. This is just the tip of the iceberg with all this stuff, too. That's what's amazing.
Well, it is. Give you a peek behind the curtain. Ted and I are so excited because we're going to be showing you how to leverage this even more with software. Hopefully I'm not premature in saying that. Ted and I love Mojo marketing software, so we're going to be showing how to utilize these processes by using something like Mojo marketing software, some other tools out there. But just understand this. I love to say, and Ted and I were interviewed on a radio program yesterday, and I made the comment, you'll hear it from me a lot. Technology changes nothing, but it improves everything. And for us old-timers, us gray-haired guys, that's great, because what we have that these young guys don't have is wisdom. All right? And what we know is that the process never changes. This is the same process people used 10 years ago, 20 years ago, even 100 or 200 years ago. I talk about Richard Sears and how he started the Sears catalog in the late 1800s. And the process really hasn't changed. But technology allows us to do it better, faster, cheaper, and get feedback instantaneously. And that's the advantage that we have. But it all goes back to people are still the same. We want to monitor. We want to give people, we want to lay out for them a path. And by the way, that's a great way to look at marketing, by the way, is just put a path in front of people. Let people walk down, let people choose the path they want to go down. Just give them the path, because most people don't really know what to do next. So just give them the path, lead them to the path, and then watch to see who goes down the path, which path they go down, and give them the opportunity to give you back the valuable feedback and intelligence you need to make it easy for you.
Great
And
stuff.
with that, I think I've reached the end here, Ted, unless there's any more questions.
No, I don't have any questions, but boy, you're right though. It's the way people did business hundreds of years ago. It's really all about relationships.
Yes, no doubt.
And the technology will change. Before we met face to face, now we can meet literally millions of people online every day.
Yeah, exactly right.
We can get clients on demand using this process. If you need a client today, you can spend 20 minutes on LinkedIn, connect with people, implement your funnel, and get clients.
That's exactly right. Here's some of the resources I showed you today. If you need lead outcome, you can go there. Ted, we really need to get, these are affiliate links, people. I do want to tell you these are affiliate links. And Ted, I want to get you an affiliate link for lead outcome so we start using your affiliate link. And Offline Funnel Mastery actually is not an affiliate link. OfflineFunnelMastery.com is my membership program. If you want to follow me, really get to know how to do this inside out, this is basically the first step to getting into my inner circle. It's called Offline Funnel Mastery. It's $57 a month. We give a couple webinars. There's great information in there. Auto Engage is a piece of software that I did not demonstrate on today, but it's something that I use for LinkedIn automation and following up with people. And Retarget Engine is what I demonstrated, where we could utilize third-party resources and drive people to these third-party places and still embed our important codes there. So those are some of the resources that you saw today.
Great stuff, Steve. Love it.
Take a screenshot of that if you like, and you know, just stay in touch and in tune with Ted. You're going to see Ted and I doing a lot more together. So if you want to engage with me more, come on over to Offline Funnel Mastery. Also stick with Ted and I because we're about to really put together some awesome stuff.
And the Facebook group will both be there hanging out.
Absolutely, and the Facebook group for sure.
So, okay, if that's it, David, do you have any questions? Let me unmute you again.
Wondered how would I for something in my IT company?
Say that again, David.
Oh, how would I use this for something like my IT company?
Your IP company, are you talking about an internet host? Are you talking about intellectual property? What are you talking about? Please elaborate.
Hey, David, can you turn down your speakers? You're getting an echo.
Oh.
Yeah, but then he won't hear us. So we'll just have to deal with the echo for a minute. Dave, go ahead and elaborate your question a little bit more, and then I'll let you mute so I can answer.
My question was, I have an IT company, and I was wondering, you know, how I could use some of these techniques for that.
Okay. IT, I'm sorry, I thought you said IP. All right. So you're looking for a client that you could provide IT services to, is that it?
Yep, that's it.
Okay. Go ahead and mute, and Ted and I will spitball this a little bit, and then we'll ask you for a little feedback to what we come up with, okay?
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Ted, you want to take a crack at it?
Yeah, it's IT services. Really, it's about follow-up a lot of times because people, it's usually a long-term commitment and a high-ticket item. So people don't just sign up online through a form. It's about you nurturing them and providing. I did IT consulting for many, many years. And it's all about really establishing that relationship with them and feeding them with good information, dripping this information. And then all of a sudden, something will happen. They'll say, well, I don't really need that right now. I don't want to make a change, but maybe something happens with their current vendor, or they grow. They really need to expand their offerings or services. So just by you pinging them with all these automated follow-ups, you're going to be on their radar almost all the time.
Excellent. Now, in terms of steps, what I would recommend is this. Put up a landing page. David, hopefully you got a website. If not, certainly get one. But I'm going to make an assumption you got a website. If you want to do exactly what you see me doing here, then here's the steps. Number one, put up a landing page that is let's just focus on people you meet on LinkedIn. Let's say you want to meet people on LinkedIn and you want to find out if any of these are prospective clients right now and nurture the rest of them for the future. So put up a landing page that looks like this. Just where you see me talking about me and the things that I offer, let's talk about the things that you offer. Put out there a couple of different IT services that you offer. What do you have in terms of what we call lead magnets? Have you written any reports? Do you have any videos? Anything that describes what you do? Use these things as what we call lead magnets. That's what you see on the right sidebar of my page here. All right?
We do what we call an IT assessment. Are you familiar with that?
Well, I can venture a guess at what that looks like. So here's the thing, okay? The IT assessment is getting close to what I would call my RWA finder. If somebody takes the time to fill out that in-depth form because they want an assessment, that's great. They are far down the funnel, all right? What I'm afraid of is before they get to that step, you might get people that have some interest, but they're not ready to fill out that form. So we got to give people, everything we do should be a series of progressively more complicated and more in-depth steps, all right? But that has to start with a very low barrier. Don't start with asking them a high barrier. Hey, fill out this whole assessment form and tell me your life story now, because that's a high barrier to entry, and you're going to drive away a lot of people, and you haven't been able to plant those cookies, all right? Give them something very low barrier. Give them a PDF report. Give them an infographic. Give
white
them
paper.
a video. Yes, beautiful, okay? Give them something very low barrier so that you can get them into your funnel. Now, as soon as you deliver that white paper, immediately take them to the assessment. Hey, would you like us to perform an assessment? That's cool now because you already have them in the funnel. All right?
Okay.
If they say no, if they leave, if they abandon, that's all right because your system's going to follow up. All right? But if you get them to leave before you've got them into the funnel, you've lost your ability for any future contact. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. So does that answer your question?
Yep.
Cool. All right.
Sounds like pretty much the same process.
It really is. It's what we're talking about. That's what hasn't changed in a couple hundred years. It doesn't change anything in terms of the process, but the technology is going to make it, is going to improve the way that it works, not how it works. Or I should say improve the results that you get.
Yeah, it sounds really good.
Thanks, Dave. All right, folks. Well, if there's no more questions, I'm going to wind it down, but I want to thank everybody for being here, and if you're watching the recording, thank you for watching the recording. And I would expect that this is just the beginning. I think that we'll get to know each other a lot more within the community. I look forward to that.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. Thanks, Greg. Thanks, David. And thanks to everybody listening to the recording. I'll edit the recording and get it posted later today.
Okay, and thank
One
you,
last
Ted.
question. Steve,
Yes,
how
sir.
do I reach you about voiceovers?
Oh, well, did you happen? I've got this thing called a LinkedIn Friends page. Have you happened to be there?
Well, I can find you. Okay. Okay, that's fine.
All right. I'm also I also did recently post in Fred's Facebook group. Just message me there.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Thanks, Greg.
And there's a call on Friday at 9 a.m. too, our last group call. So hopefully everybody can join us for that too. Okay, well, thanks everybody. And we'll see you in the forum and on Friday.
Have a great
Okay.
day, everybody.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you.